This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday, which regular viewers of this channel will know what that means. We do some kind of top 5 or occasionally a top 10 list. But today is a top 5. I've done a few videos in this vein recently, and they all seem to do well for me, so that's why I've decided to do another one. But this is a little bit different to the previous ones. Previously, I've talked about, here are some tips for, people who are just beginning to learn to play the guitar. If you've just started learning to play the guitar, here's 5 things that you might find useful. Well, we're dialing it back a little bit further today. These are 5 things to consider if you don't yet play the guitar, if you are thinking of learning to play the guitar, things that may inform what kind of guitar you will choose to buy and, how you will go about learning. Basically, knowledge to arm yourself with before you encounter your first instrument. So let's get cracking straight away with...
Don't buy the cheapest guitar you can find.
Yes, it's very tempting to buy the cheapest guitar because a guitar is a guitar is a guitar, right? Well, there are a lot of great budget guitars out there. Many people know, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, I'm a big fan of the Harley Benton brand of guitars because they offer astonishing quality for very, very good prices. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying don't buy a cheap guitar. I'm just saying don't buy the cheapest guitar. If you see in your local branch of Argos or whatever is the equivalent to Argos in your part of the world, you can buy a nylon string acoustic guitar for about 30 or 40 quid. And I was recently, about 10 years ago, I was involved in a local sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, youth club kind of project. It was a big thing set up by the council, and they wanted to do guitar lessons in there. And they wanted some guitars, and they were determined that they were going to get the best value for money, so they bought these awful nylon string acoustic guitars, really poor quality classical style guitars for about 25-30 quid each, and that was great because they could get all the guitars for the whole class, and they were absolutely awful. You cannot buy a good quality guitar or a playable acoustic guitar or any kind of guitar for that kind of money. As a rough rule of thumb, you can get a reasonably good guitar for just a shade under 100 quid. But generally speaking, if you go the other side of that, if you just nudge into 3 figures, you're going to find it very difficult to buy something that is unplayable. You are definitely going to be getting something that is, going to help you on your way at that point there. So don't go and buy the cheapest guitar from your local department store or whatever the equivalent is. It's not going to be playable. It's a false economy. It will make life more difficult for you, and it's difficult enough as it is to begin with. When you're playing, you don't want the guitar fighting you as well. Buy something decent, and as I say, just, once you get up to about £100 or whatever the equivalent is in your local currency, you're going to be getting something which you stand a fair chance of getting a playable instrument that isn't going to, kind of put roadblocks in your way. So there you go. Next.
Buy the type of guitar you really want.
Yes. Buy the guitar you want, or buy the type of guitar that you want. There is this idea that, I really want to play like Mark Knopfler, Gary Moore, Eric Clapton, whoever is your, particular idol, whoever it is that's inspired you to pick up an instrument, and they may be an absolute virtuoso on the electric guitar. But you think that you have to serve your apprenticeship on an acoustic guitar. I did. But I'm not sure that was the best thing for me. I mean, my first electric guitar wasn't a great electric guitar, but it was a lot better than my first ever guitar, which was a K steel string acoustic again, but because it was the cheapest one that I could find with my Saturday job money when I was a kid. And that guitar didn't really do me a lot of favours, and consequently it wasn't really until I got my first electric guitar, which was much more playable, that I really started getting into it and taking it seriously. So if you want to play electric guitar, get yourself an electric guitar. It's probably a bit of a generalization to say this, but I'll say it anyway, because of the kind of woodworking skills and what have you involved in building an acoustic guitar versus building an electric guitar. For any given amount of money, you're probably going to be getting, at the budget end of the spectrum, a better and more playable electric guitar than you would an acoustic guitar. So if you want to play electric guitar, if that's where your dreams lie, then don't think that you have to, play for the first year or so on an acoustic guitar because that's the way you're supposed to do things. No, buy the type of guitar that you really want, and more than anything else, it'll actually inspire you to pick it up and practice, which is what's going to guarantee that you will make progress. Next.
Be open-minded about what you're going to learn.
Yes, having just said buy the type of guitar that you really want, you may think that the next thing is going to be, you can cut straight to the chase and begin playing, simplified, perhaps, but recognizable versions of the songs and tunes played by your idols. Well, just hold your horses a little bit there. Despite the fact what I've just said about not needing to serve your apprenticeship on an acoustic guitar, there is an apprenticeship to be served. You do need to learn the basics, and I started off playing all of the open position chords and learning chord changes and how to do bar chords and all of that sort of stuff, and I just thought that was just the way you're supposed to do it, because that was the way. It was the accepted way to do it, because I was learning from a series of books, the Complete Guitar Player books by Russ Shipton. Anyone still remember those? But these days there is a wealth of information online, and you can, if you are brand new to the guitar, you can go on YouTube or various other places and type in, I don't know, Pink Floyd songs for beginners, or Avenged Sevenfold songs for beginners, or whatever, and start kind of trying to run before you can walk, basically. I teach students all the time who've taken this route, and they always have huge problems that it's not that the problems would have been solved, the problems wouldn't have cropped up in the first place if they had got all of the basics under their fingers first. You have to be open-minded, and you have to be open to the idea that for the first little while when you're playing, you're going to be playing stuff that isn't necessarily right smack in the bullseye of your musical tastes. Back when I first started learning to play, it was all, awful kind of cliched, cheesy songs like Kumbaya and Skip to My Lou and Michael Row the Boat Ashore, all of that sort of stuff. And I stuck with it, but I basically determined that when I became a teacher, I wasn't going to make people learn to play When the Saints Go Marching In or She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain. So what I do for beginner students is I give them specially kind of written study pieces and exercises that, okay, they're not as recognisable as When the Saints Go Marching In or something like that, but they do sound a lot better, and it makes you more inspired to pick up the guitar and play. So start off by learning the basics and learn them in a way which is going to be entertaining to you, but you've got to still learn the basics. Don't try and cut straight to the chase and try and learn bodged and kind of half-baked versions of the songs that you eventually, and the material that you eventually really want to learn to play. See that on your horizon as a goal to aim for, and again, having something to shoot for like that is what will inspire you to practice and stick at it. So, next.
Get to know other guitarists.
Yes, get to know other guitarists. This is something I did by accident. I live in a part of the world where it's the weather, despite the sun shining today, is not always very clement. And I started playing the guitar in September of 1978. So you're kind of into that sort of stretch towards winter. And on a school lunchtime, there were various places you could hang around to get out of the miserable weather. One was the library, but you had to be quiet in there because people were reading and playing chess and so on. The other was the music room, and that's where all the guitarists hung out. And I was just possibly that was what made me spark my interest in the guitar in the first place, if I think back that far. But I was in an environment where there were other guitarists. I could see what they were doing. I could, to be honest, probably make a nuisance of myself by asking questions. Why are you doing that like that? Why did you use that finger on that string? Why not that finger? And, all of these kind of things. Basically, getting to know other guitar players and asking things and, observing what they're doing. It's a good way of just up close observing best practice. And, you've always got somebody there as a mentor or to ask advice from and, just to basically pick their brains should you need to do so. It's a much, much better way of doing it than just locking yourself away in a room and watching YouTube videos like this. But that said, yeah, get to know other guitarists and you can benefit from their experience. Next.
It's going to be more difficult than you think.
Yeah, this is probably the most important one, and I've saved it to last. It is going to be harder than you think to learn to play any musical instrument, I suspect. If you were wanting to play the trumpet, or the clarinet, or the bagpipes or whatever, you accept that that it's going to be a steep learning curve and it's going to take time and dedication and practice and a fair bit of hard work. Although if you're really, really loving what you're doing, the hard work doesn't seem like hard work. But for the guitar, because it's part of the culture, and you see even the most. These days, I'm not sure if they do, but you see even the most kind of inane teeny bopper pop star, playing the guitar, or at least having one kind of around their neck while they're kind of miming on top of the pops. Is that still going? But there is this kind of idea that the guitar is an everyman instrument, that it's easy and you can pick it up in sort of no time at all. There is a little bit of truth to that. What wasn't one of the music papers in the 70s didn't have a cover where they printed 3 chord diagrams and said, here's 3 chords, now go and form a band or something like that. You can get off the starting blocks relatively quickly compared to other instruments. You can be playing full songs or, reasonably full songs or reasonably decent songs, while somebody who's a student of the piano is still kind of hammering out chopsticks. But it is going to be harder than you think, and it's going to take more work than you think. It's all about muscle memory and getting your fingers to move quickly and accurately from one place to another with the minimum of conscious thought involved. And that is just about repetition and practice and going over and over and over it again and failing and getting frustrated with it and coming back and having another go and so on and so on. You are not going to be able to pick up a guitar and be playing songs within the first week. It just doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. So it is going to be harder than you thought. The steepest part of any learning curve is right at the beginning, and it does get easier and more fun and more rewarding the more you go on. So there you go. There are 5 things to consider if you are not yet a guitar player, if you are thinking about or considering or determined to but haven't yet bought your first guitar. Hope you found this useful, and if you are a guitarist and you know somebody that is thinking about picking up the instrument and giving it a go, point them in the direction of this video and maybe add to it any of your own words of wisdom that you may think I've missed out, and why not leave them in the comments as well. And that is the video for today, folks. Hope you found it informative in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk music and guitars. What, I ask you, is not to like about that? Fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it, but for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.